You are listening to Greg and his friends talk sports. 10 to 20 minutes every day, Greg and his friends are talking about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about. Every day on the Central Indiana Sports Report.
Welcome, Central Indiana sports fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for my new podcast, Greg and his friends talk sports. Yesterday, I got confirmation from producer Susie that I can continue calling it my new podcast for a little while longer. I'm not sure how long you can continue saying new. Although I think we had a radio station in Indianapolis growing up that called itself the New Apple or something for about 25 years. I'm your host, Greg Mengel, and every day my friends and I are talking about whatever Central Indiana sports fans are talking about, whether it's the Pacers, Colts, Fever, IU, Purdue, IndyCar, high school sports, whatever it is. That's what we're talking about. Coming up today, Sunday, March 15, 2026. Purdue is in the Big Ten championship game. We'll have scores and highlights from the Big Ten and all over the country. Indiana Wesleyan, Grace, St. Francis, and Marian have teams headed to NAIA Finals. And of course, we have boys high school regional scores and semi-state matchups for you as well. Plus a little Colts news and Caitlin Clark in action in international basketball. Also later Sunday, we will have a full regional scoreboard for you with Rob Hunt of the Herald Bulletin from Lapel, Grant Schaus from Logansport and Frankfort, two different sites on Saturday. That guy's insane. Michael Hogg with a post-game interview with Luke Ertl from Mount Vernon's win at Southport and Elijah Poe from Greenfield. Also on Sunday, we'll have an IndyCar reaction from Arlington, also with Elijah Poe on a busy Sunday. And on Monday's show, we will have all kinds of bracket reactions from high school, college, NAIA, NCAA, all kinds of brackets everywhere. No Pacers report this week. Our Pacers guy, Mike Rich, is off with his Army unit, but he'll be back next week and will be on this show whenever there is Pacers news. Thank you so much for joining us. My friends and I will be back tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the day after that. It'll be number 18 Purdue and number 3 Michigan in Sunday's Big Ten championship after the Wolverines held off Wisconsin. And the Boilermakers dominated for the third straight day, beating UCLA 73-66. The last 2 days have really been two of their best performances of the year. And again, it was the front court of Oscar Clough and Trey Kaufman-Renn. They combined for 29 points and 24 rebounds. Clough 9 offensive rebounds as Purdue out-rebounded the Bruins 37-26. Braden Smith had 9 assists on Saturday and now has a tournament record 35 with still a game to play. And he's now just 12 assists shy of Bobby Hurley's national record. He also became only the second player in college basketball history to record back-to-back 300 assist seasons. The other was Southern's Avery Johnson in the late 90s. He went undrafted and had a really good NBA career. But honestly, as an experienced Purdue fan, I am not getting my hopes up for the NCAA tournament. Let's find out what my friend Jake Dunn thinks. Well, Jake, after Purdue lost to Michigan a couple of weeks ago, I declared that I wanted the Wolverines again in the Big Ten championship. But I got to admit, over the last couple of weeks, I was like, I don't really want Michigan again. And now I'm not sure. They're kind of sucking me back in, Jake.
I was thinking about you when this game was going final. Obviously, we knew at that point that Michigan wasn't going to be moving on. So I was thinking about you and how you were going to get your wish here for a rematch. I've kind of felt the opposite way of you, Greg. I think Michigan's just really good. I definitely expect them to win, but Purdue, they're playing a lot better than they have been. They look energized again as a team and also individually too. But this does make this Purdue win here cinch the Boilermakers to their third conference title game in the last 5 years. And gives the seniors and now another chance to hang up another conference championship banner before heading into the NCAA tournament.
you were right about the path getting to the Big Ten championship, and it really opened up when Michigan State lost. But they've played really well the last couple of days. I just don't know if it's matchup issues or what, but suddenly they look like a better team than they did just last week.
One thing that I've seen here, and I think we've seen it throughout the season some too, but Purdue has come out of the gate pretty on fire. They have an early surge, and that's been in all three Big Ten tournament games so far. They've built double-digit leads early, and at halftime they had a decent lead. I think they were up 7.5, and that was a big part. And one of your favorite players, Greg, Jack Benner, he had some late first half threes. He hit 2 threes in the final 2 minutes, including that buzzer beater that pushed Purdue's lead. I think it was 2-7. And he's, to me anyway, looks like he's dealing with a wrist injury. Even with that injured wrist, he's still going full effort, still battling on the glass, still fighting and diving for loose balls. And he's helped Purdue survive some stretches with, Braden Smith or TKR, not on the floor. He's definitely a very valuable glue guy, and I'm excited for his future here. I know the season's not over yet, but I'm excited for his future here at Purdue. But one thing that, I feel like we've seen at some point, and it's basketball, so it's going to happen, but a lot of teams, once Purdue, builds that lead, the other team does make a push late. In this game, UCLA tied the game, pretty late into the second half. And that really forced Purdue to execute in crunch time. But, they tied the game, but they never actually took the lead. Meaning that every time they tied it, Purdue came down and had an answer, which was great. And I think a big part of that comes down to Oscar Clough. He had 17 points, 14 rebounds, 9 of those being offensive rebounds. And he also had 2 assists as well. I thought his passing was great. Maybe the best he's played all year. I know he had some really good games early on in the season. And at Nebraska, a really good game too. But several of those offensive rebounds turned directly into second chance points throughout the game. So I know I personally have been kind of dogging on him a little bit. Really glad to see his resurgence, and hope they can keep this going into the NCAA tournament.
And he's going to need to have a huge game on Sunday because that Michigan front line is the best in the country.
It is a big part of the reason why I didn't want to play them, because they Yaxel Lindenberg, he's very good. Mara, their big guy, they're like 7-footer. He's really talented as well. Has developed a lot from his time last year at UCLA. So Purdue's definitely going to have to find ways to keep them off the glass, especially second chance points. There was in the game at home against Michigan. That's something that Purdue kind of struggled to do, was keep them off the glass. So most of the time that Purdue has played somebody twice, they've come out better. They've played a lot better that second time. So I hope that rings true here.
Jake, 35 assists so far in the Big Ten tournament for Braden Smith. He is approaching the record. We will talk more about that and the NCAA tournament draw first thing Wednesday morning on the Purdue Report this week. Thanks so much for your time, Jake.
Sounds good. Thank you. Boiler up.
Boiler up. Yeah. By the way, I don't know any of this, but my instinct tells me Michigan will be the number 1 seed in the Midwest, win or lose on Sunday. Number 1 Duke beat number 10 Virginia 74-70 in Charlotte to sweep ACC titles. The Blue Devils will be the number 1 seed in the East. The number 1 seed in the West will be Arizona after the Wildcats improved to 32-2 with a 79-74 win over number 5 Houston in the Big 12 championship in Kansas City. The other number 1 seed, I think, is up in the air after number 13 St. John's beat number 6 UConn to win the Big East at Madison Square Garden. Number 17 Arkansas beat number 4 Florida 93-90 in the SEC semifinals. Should be Houston, but we'll see. It's Arkansas against number 22 Vanderbilt for the SEC championship Sunday in Nashville. That game's on ESPN. I think it's at 1. Yes. Also on Sunday, Dayton versus VCU for the Atlantic 10 after Dayton upset regular season champion St. Louis. That's on CBS at 1. Games in Pittsburgh. Also, Wichita State and South Florida for the American, Penn and Yale for the Ivy League. Of course, all the conference champions advanced to the NCAA tournament. Saturday's automatic qualifiers were Duke, Arizona, and St. John's. Also, UMBC won the America East with a 74-59 win over Vermont. Howard won the MEAC by beating North Carolina Central 70-63. Prairie View beat Southern 72-66 to win the SWAC. Kennesaw beat Louisiana Tech 71-60 to win Conference USA. Hawaii is in the tournament for the first time in a decade after winning the Big West 71-64 over Irvine. California Baptist beat Utah Valley 63-61 to win the WAC. And Utah State beat San Diego State to win the Mountain West. In the NAIA, top seed and second-ranked Grace advanced to the National Finals in Kansas City, the Sweet 16, by beating Southeastern Florida 91-75 in Winona Lake on Saturday. Joining the Lancers in Kansas City will be rival Indiana Wesleyan. The Wildcats beat Dalton State from Georgia 89-70 in Marian on Saturday. And my friend Kevin Helfrich is coming up with a report. Bethel lost to Georgetown, Kentucky 85-68, and 14 seed Bellevue, Nebraska is in the Sweet 16 after its second straight upset, 95-88 over Graceland, Iowa. That game was played in Huntington. We will have the full schedule for you from both the men's and women's NAIA tournaments on Monday's show or probably Tuesday. And we'll have Kevin Helfrich back later in the week with a preview. In the women's NAIA tournament, St. Francis, Marian, and Indiana Wesleyan have advanced to the national finals in Sioux City, Iowa. St. Francis beat College of Idaho 60-54 in Fort Wayne. Marian beat Columbia, Missouri 70-47 in Indianapolis. And Indiana Wesleyan upset 2-seed Rio Grande 86-80 in Rio Grande, Ohio to return to the Sweet 16. I spoke with my friend Kevin Helfrich on Saturday about the Wildcat men and women advancing to the national finals. Well, Kevin, I don't want to point this out, but I'm going to. You doubted the Indiana Wesleyan women. They both won today.
Yeah, quite a remarkable performance, especially by the women. They ended the 22-game win streak of Rio Grande on their home floor. Just an impressive win. The Wildcats trailed by 8 in the first half, but they scratched and clawed, and really that second half was back and forth. Big play in the game, there was a technical foul on Rio Grande in the third quarter. Kind of swung momentum in that game. It was a tied game, and the NOSN hits 4 free throws to take the lead. Actually pushed the lead to 10 to start the fourth quarter, and then withstand a Rio rally as they tied it up. But the Wildcats just made big plays down the stretch. A big three-pointer coming from Mila Browning with a 1-point lead with just over a minute to go, pushed it to 4, and they hit free throws down the stretch, and the Wildcats are moving on to the Sweet 16. It's all about surviving advance at this time of year. There was a lot of fouls in this basketball game. Neither side was really happy with the officiating. You could tell by just listening to the crowd and seeing coaches' reactions and that sort of thing. But given the Wesleyan, it was their toughness down the stretch that made the difference. And that's a team that just knows how to win. It's just a program that's used to doing it in this time of year, and they continue to march on. And maybe they heard our podcast, and maybe that Coach Willie had those girls ready and fired up. So I won't doubt him in the next game. I'll say I'll pick him in the next game.
And the men as well, easy win over Dalton State today.
Quite a weekend for the men. They never trailed the entire weekend, Greg. I mean, They were pushed at times. It was a close game at halftime, and the Wesleyan only led by 5. But again, the Conference Player of the Year, Gateman Bontrager, shows out in the second half, scores 19 of his game-high 28 points, and the Wildcats pulled away early in the second half. Never really were threatened and win this one going away. And like I said, I thought they'd play better offensively. They did. They scored 89 points today and shot tremendous from 3, and they just had a lot of guys contributing. Again, it was Marcus Ankney off the bench. Big spark, 14 points. This guy who started last year, and he's come off the bench in these 2 games and really provided that offensive punch they needed off the bench.
And, of course, the men didn't get to the national finals last year, but this is something that they're used to and kind of expected to do this year.
Yeah, they really are. This is a team now that's 28-5 on the season. They don't really have much of any weaknesses. They are very deep. They play 10 guys, and they can just interchange at different positions. And this is a team that can make that deep run here. We'll find out on Thursday. We're still waiting to see who they'll play. They'll either play Hope International or Kaiser out of Florida. So that game's still going on. It's a tight one right now. And it'll be a challenge just like they always are. But I like the way Indiana Wesleyan's playing right now.
And they're going to be joined by Grace, the only two Indiana schools in Kansas City.
Yes, it will. The two best teams in the conference are the two that are still standing, and both with chances, to make a deep run out there in Kansas City this coming week.
And that starts on Thursday. Kevin, you and I will talk about it more before then. A third Crossroads League team, Spring Arbor, beat Tennessee Southern, and it'll be in Sioux City as well. And Bethel lost to Freed Harmon, Tennessee, 73-64, and Huntington fell to Bethel, Tennessee, 73-56. Evansville's women are in the MVC Championship Sunday after beating Illinois State 75-70. The Purple Aces entered the tournament 7-24 and are a game away from the NCAA tournament. They'll face 30-3 Murray State at 2 in Corralville, Iowa. That game's on ESPN2. Miami's women won the MAC by beating Toledo 68-58. The Redhawks enter the NCAA tournament at 28-6. High school basketball regionals. We will have semi-state locations and matchups Sunday at 2 revealed by the IHSAA. And we'll have that for you on Monday's show, which is going to be all about brackets. The NCAA tournament, the women's NCAA tournament, NAIA, high school, all kinds of brackets on Monday's show. In Class 4A in the South, number 4 Mount Vernon, number 7 Terre Haute North, number 9 New Albany, and Decatur Central have advanced. Luke Ertl scored 34 points and had 11 rebounds in Mount Vernon's 57-54 overtime win over Pike. We will hear from future Purdue Boilermaker and Mr. Basketball Luke Ertl on the regional scoreboard show later Sunday. Mount Vernon and Pike split a couple of overtime games this year, but the Marauders won the one that mattered. Amazing that Decatur Central is the last public school from Indianapolis in the tournament in any class. Only other Indianapolis schools that I can think of are Cathedral and Roncalli. Pretty amazing. Class 4A in the North, the semi-state is going to be number 2 Crown Point, number 6 Northridge, Fort Wayne Snyder, and Homestead. Snyder stunned number 10 Carmel a week after the Greyhounds stunned number 1 Fishers. Northridge beat reigning 3A champion South Bend St. Joseph 73-67. In Class 3A in the North, Delta did it again. 4th year in a row, they're regional champions. The last 2 years, I have to admit, I just didn't see it coming at all. And it's also the second year in a row that they've beaten Blackhawk Christian to win the regional this year 40-30. Should be a wide open semi-state with Delta, New Haven, Columbia City, and East Chicago Central. Class 3A in the South, listen to this. The semi-state's going to be number 1 Silver Creek, number 2 Princeton, number 3 Cathedral, and number 16 Roncalli. I'm betting that one's at the Hatchet House in Washington. Both LaPel and Oak Hill will play in the North semi-state in Class 2A, hopefully in Muncie, along with Fort Wayne Lures and Westview. Number 2 Oak Hill beat Benton Central 75-56. Number 9 LaPel dominated the second half in a 67-55 win over Blackford. And Westview defeated one of the state championship favorites, Gary 21st Century. We'll have a report from LaPel with Rob Hunt, and on Oak Hill's win at Frankfort with Grant Schaus on the regional scoreboard show. 2A in the South, there are no more unbeatens after number 1 Paoli was defeated by Linton 55-51. The Miners will be joined in the semi-state by number 6 Triton Central, number 4 Park Heritage, and Austin. Class A North, number 7 Monroe Central beat number 6 Southwood 64-48. The Bears should be the co-favorites in this semi-state with number 4 Triton. Also at the semi-state will be Tri-County and North Vermilion. North Vermilion upset Rossville 59-54 in overtime. Class A in the South, it was Liberty Christian winning their third straight regional championship Saturday, beating Greenwood Christian 58-43. Elijah Poe will have a report on our regional scoreboard show on Liberty's win. He's also coming up on this show to talk about IndyCar qualifying and preview the race at Arlington. It'll be a tough semi-state for number 9 Liberty, but they're still my favorite to win it all. Also there will be number 2 Bar Reeve, number 3 Hauser, and number 11 Bloomfield. Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark had 12 points and 5 assists in 22 minutes in the U.S.'s 93-59 win over Italy on Saturday in the FIBA World Cup qualifier. She now has 37 points and 19 assists in 3 games. She looks 100% and confirmed this week that she is 100 even after game action. Now, if only there's a WNBA to go to. We hope to have a Fever report for you sometime this week. Also hope to have a Colts report for you later this week. The Colts have re-signed mo-alie to a 1-year deal. The Colts have a really strong tight end room with Tyler Warren, mo-alie, Drew Ogletree, and Drew Mallory. And the top NFL news from Saturday is the Giants signed Darnell Mooney away from the Bears, a new target for Jackson Dart. Marcus Ericsson won his first IndyCar pole on Saturday for Sunday's inaugural Arlington Grand Prix in Texas. He'll be joined on the front row by 3-time defending champion Alex Palou. The race was originally scheduled for 1 o'clock. It's been moved ahead an hour to try to avoid some heavy winds. The telecast on Fox now begins at 11:30 with the race to start at noon. Elijah, new event, looks like a great and very fast race course.
It's great to see the IndyCar NTT series at Arlington. What a track we have on our hands here. One of the best TV watches I've seen, and we haven't even seen a race. But nonetheless, with Marcus Ericsson taking the pole, I can't believe it's his first IndyCar pole.
I know. That shocked me.
And that Andretti team, I was a little bit surprised Kyle Kirkwood being the odd man out of the group. But regardless, with 2 Andretti cars in the Fast 6 and 2 Meyer-Shank cars in the Fast 6, it feels like all is right again. But Alex Palou is sitting in second.
That's right, Alex Palou, Pato Award, Will Power, the others in there with the Meyer-Shanks 5th and 6th. And Christian Rasmussen was the fastest car all weekend. Kind of a little disappointing that he's 8th, but good weekend for Ed Carpenter Racing so far.
Yeah, it is. With Rasmussen in 8th and Rossi in 10th, I think that's going to be super interesting to see what they do strategy-wise. With Ed being the strategist and the main guy for Rossi himself, I think that's a car I'm really going to be watching because he's been known to kind of throw out some weird strategies. And on a race like this that's so bumpy, so quick, I'm going to be really, really interested to see how many cautions there are in general because it could get pretty nasty. They've already moved up the race a full hour to 11:30 Eastern time. Because there's so many high winds, and it almost worries me, especially if they're going into the wind, say on that straight. If you get some contact, you never want to see a car in the air.
That's right. I talked a little bit about this, Elijah, on the IndyCar report this week. The Penske team just does not have it yet on the street courses.
No, they don't. With David Malukas in 9th and Joseph Newgarden in 11th, and then obviously Scotty Mack taking the unfortunate crash in qualifying. He's going to be starting all the way from the back. But nonetheless, Newgarden ran really, really well at St. Pete, coming all the way from the back into 7th. And I think Malukas can have a good race here. I wouldn't be shocked to see maybe even one of those drivers in the top 5. And I'd be really surprised if they can get to a podium just because, the drivers ahead of them, the quality of them is going to be really, really tough. That's another interesting storyline to follow is where can Team Penske recover and where can Scotty Mack kind of save his weekend because he was looking just as fast as Palou all weekend and just bend it in the first qualifying session.
Elijah, you pick Kyle Kirkwood coming into the weekend. Do you want to stick with that or are you going to switch it up after qualifying?
I think I am going to take Kirkwood here again. Obviously had one of the fastest times with a 3.88, but just missed out on that fast 6. Coming from 7th, he's been so consistent for the first 2 races this season. And he's really in another position to have a really nice finish again. Then again, it is going to be hard to beat Pillow. But if there's one man to do it on the streets, it's Kirkwood.
Man, Christian Rasmussen has been maybe had the best car of the weekend. Let's see. I'm going to put him as my dark horse, but I'm going to take Pato. I think it's his weekend.
I'm interested to see what Rasmussen does. We know how aggressive he is on the ovals, but when you're on a street circuit like that, you can't be that aggressive or somebody's going to really, really get hurt. And he's going to be somebody that I bet guys are staying miles away from tomorrow.
Later today, Elijah will be joining me on our reaction to the IndyCar race at Arlington. We'll probably have some others with us, but we never know who's going to be able to be there from week to week. Elijah, thanks so much for your time as always.
Thank you, Greg. Can't wait. It should be an absolutely thrilling race.
Pillow goes off as the race favorite at -140, followed by O'Ward, Kyle Kirkwood, Ericsson, Will Power, Joseph Newgarden, and Scott McLaughlin, who, as Elijah mentioned, will start 25th after a crash during qualifying on Saturday. And we look ahead to Sunday, March 16, 2026. Already mentioned the Big Ten Championship with Purdue and Michigan and all the championship games on Sunday. Also, the high school basketball semi-state location and matchup reveal will be 2 o'clock on Sunday. Also, the Pacers are in Milwaukee for a 3:30 tip-off. The losses aren't really breaking my heart right now, but this is one I'd really love to win. The Bucks are 27-39 after a 28-point loss in Atlanta on Saturday night. They're going to miss the playoffs, and it's hilarious. Mike Rich should be back from his Army obligations early next week. No Pacers report this week, and unless a reason presents itself, it's NCAA tournament week and all that. So high school basketball, semi-states, NAIA, we got a lot of stuff to worry about. Pacers have the worst record in the league, but we will talk plenty of Pacers on this show with Mike this week. And it'll be back next week. Still our first love. The Boom beat Westchester 141-115 Saturday behind 31 points from former Purdue Boilermaker Dakota Mathias. And the two teams play again at 3 o'clock in Noblesville at the arena on Sunday. And of course, brackets at 6 o'clock, women's brackets at 8. We will see where Hannah Hidalgo and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish wind up in the women's tournament. That's the end. Now you know everything I know. Thanks so much for joining us. My friends and I will be back tomorrow. We expect you to be back as well. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.